Welcome to the Spellbreak GotSoL podcast. If you are enjoying the show, please feel free to leave a review on iTunes. You can follow the show on Twitter at SBGotSoLPod. You can send an email at sbgotsolpod@gmail.com. And if you feel like supporting the show further, you can leave a tip at twitch.tv/RayGotSoL. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. You are now listening to the Spellbreak GotSoL podcast, where we highlight members of the Spellbreak community that are making a positive impact, dominating lobbies, or simply got soul. Here we offer tips, talk about the current state of the game, and get behind-the-scenes access to some of your favorite breakers. Welcome and enjoy the show. Welcome to episode 3 of the Spellbreak GotSoL podcast. I am your host, Ray GotSoL. Well, we have a couple of announcements before we start the show. First of all, we have really beefed up our tip segment going forward, and we have also added a new segment for competitive players. I felt the tip segment was being underutilized and there was much more to offer. And as for the comp segment, I felt that it was an aspect of the game a lot of people would be interested in. So beginning with this show and moving forward, the changes will be in effect. But enough of that for now. I'm very excited about our next guest. He's kind of taken the HoloLens by storm, emerging as a crowd favorite with this humble attitude and savage in-gameplay. He accomplished the feat of being ranked 1 in solos and trios on the weekly leaderboards. Bravo, bravo. Streaming live almost daily on Twitch, I'd like to welcome Crahb. Konnichiwa, genki desu ka?
Hi, genki desu. Hello, I am Crahb.
Did that work out? How'd I do on that Japanese?
That was very good. My Japanese pronunciation was probably worse than yours there. So,
all right. I thought you might like that. So what got you into Spellbreak, my man? How'd you hear about it?
I think it was early January of this year. I saw this video on YouTube, and I was like, it was something about how Spellbreak is not any other BR, something like that. I was like, okay, this game looks insane. And really what pulled me in was the graphics, the art style.
Right.
And I was like, this game looks amazing. So I ended up looking into it. And then the day after some debating with myself, I was like, all right, I'm buying it. So I bought the cheapest pack, which was $50 at the time.
Right.
And I just ended up playing it for a week, and I actually did not stick to the game after playing it my first time. I think I was heavily invested in, I believe it was Apex Legends at the time. So I ended up quitting actually after my first week, but the game was still in the back of my mind. And then about 3 months later, I quit Apex due to some just various reasons. And I picked up Spellbreak, and it kind of just took off from there.
So just to dig a little bit deeper, like, was there any main reason why you left for the week? Was the learning curve a little bit too rough, or you just were really deeply involved with Apex at the time?
Really, it was just that I was deeply involved with Apex, and I had like a main friend group there.
Oh, right.
So I was kind of like locked in with my friend group. So when I eventually quit Apex, there was some stuff going on there, and that kind of led me away. But yeah, honestly, the biggest thing is just the social aspect, because none of them wanted to play Spellbreak.
Right.
I'm not sure why. The game looks amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Everyone has their own reasons, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
But yes, then when I quit Apex, I just wanted to give Spellbreak a try. I don't know.
When did you get back into Spellbreak?
So April 1st was my first day back.
April Fool's Day, okay.
Yeah, April Fool's Day. I actually streamed my first day back. I was watching my VODs, and wow, everyone starts somewhere.
Really?
Yes, it was rough. It was very rough.
Yeah, not a lot of people would see you in that. They just know, like, Crahb, this guy who just, like, alacrities around the map with, like, his crew and just, toxic slaps everybody and just decimates everybody. So that's, I know that would be interesting to watch. Yeah. Yeah. So describe some early experiences with the game with you.
Early experiences. So everyone hates lightning. and I hate stone. But when I was watching my first clips, I was a stone and lightning user. I don't know why.
Really? That's
but
interesting.
yeah, I used stone and lightning, and then I'd use like basically anyone who kills me, I would just copy their classes.
Wow.
So really the biggest thing when I first started though was just after I would die to someone who seemed very skilled, I would spectate them for the rest of the game and see like what I could learn, see how they play, what classes they use, what loot, like what kind of ranges they play, and that helped me learn significantly faster than just going in and dying over and over. So I actually went through a lot of different class combos when I first started, and gauntlets. And I think my first... Actually, I won't get into it yet.
Okay, that's fair. So talk about when things started to turn around for you in game-wise.
I would say probably around my first week, once I started just getting comfortable with the items. And then eventually when I found my main class and gauntlet combo, because it's really helpful to have something consistent. If you're constantly changing, it's like with different combos comes different play style, like class combos and gauntlet combos.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because they all cover different ranges, so it's like you need to know which range to play to match those gauntlets. So it makes it a lot easier to just use the same gauntlets, because then you can always have the same play style.
Right. So what got you over the hump, so to speak? Was it just like finding that those classes, those builds, those ranges, and just realizing like just getting that consistency maybe?
Yeah, really, I would just say it was kind of a combo of like most of the things I mentioned. So just spectating good players, playing a lot, always thinking about what I could have done better. And something that helped me a lot was my previous experience in games gave me a little bit of... I guess it gave me a boost in aim. So like I could hit my shots, I just didn't know how to position at all.
Right. How long do you think it takes to overcome the learning curve on this game?
Learning? So that's...
Because it's a new meta, you know, it's like there's no other game like it.
Yeah, totally. And that makes it really hard. So honestly, it depends player to player, but it's going to take like the top players at least like 2 days. I would say probably 2 to 3 days, but it really takes you like a week to learn everything. Yeah, I don't know. But it's just something for newer players though, is they need to be patient, because you're going to get stomped when you first start. Everyone does.
You got stomped, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I got stomped.
Bro, I almost didn't come back after my first day. Like I was like, I'm going to Realm Royale. I'm gonna grind this game. I don't know about spell. Like I don't know if it's for me.
Dude, yeah, it's rough.
It's rough, man. The very first day, and I ask that every show, you know. And Kalnor said it. Everybody has the rite of passage. You know what I mean? Like they have to they have to take the beat downs before they grind. So yeah. So describe your play style.
My play style, I have a very mostly aggressive play style. I play very aggressive unless they deal a ton of damage to me in the beginning. Then I try to create some space and heal back up.
Yeah.
So pretty much I feel like the general play style is people try to use mobility and they're constantly moving around.
Right.
So they're very hard to hit. But for me, I feel like I don't move around very much. It's just all about outputting as much damage as possible.
Yeah, like DPS, right?
Just yeah, my number one goal is
stream.
Yep, just to hit as many shots as possible, constantly doing damage to people, because if I'm constantly damaging them, I have to pressure them into moving around, and when they're focused on moving, they can't be shooting me. Like some top players can focus on or can get shots off in the middle of moving around, but it's very difficult.
Right.
And it's a lot easier for me to just be lining up shots while they're like wind jumping, blinking, stuff like that. So it's just number one thing is just doing as much damage as possible.
Wow. And I don't think I've had anyone kind of mention that yet. So that's an interesting strategy. So what was your first favorite build?
First favorite build. Okay, so I copied Spork's gauntlet setup.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of his gauntlet setups. So that was wind on right, and then I'd use frost and toxic on my left. And then for classes, I ran alacrity or frostborn for alacrity, and I ran bulwark for manivore and whatever the armor thing is.
Right.
And yeah, pretty much I would just run around being a super fast tank. And depending on the players, like if someone was a toxic fire user or something, then I would keep range and just kite them with alacrity and frost. And then if they're using stone or lightning or something, then I would rush them with my toxic. That was kind of my initial play style. I don't remember those days super well because it kind of was a while ago, but that was my initial build. And it was quite fun. I could see myself using it again.
Yeah. And I know you've been going through some changes recently with your classes and your gauntlets builds. I know you've been kind of diversifying, but so just for the record, like, can you describe your signature build with pros and cons?
Signature build would definitely be, so I use Dragonfire on my as my two main gauntlets, Toxic right, Fire left, and then I pocket a Frost gauntlet. And I do that for two reasons. One, for alacrity. And then two is for people who are ranged or people who are constantly in the sky. Because it's very hard. Yeah, Tempest users, like I have to use Frost to hit Tempest users. Yeah. They're always so high up there, and it's so hard to hit your fireballs.
It feels like Duck Hunt sometime when I play against you. I just go into the sky, you just pull out the Frost and just like quacking around.
Oh my.
Yeah. So I'm sorry for cutting you off. Let's get back into the pros and cons of that build.
Okay, so big pros is I basically cover every single range with that build.
Yeah.
I have Toxic for super close range, Fire for medium close range, and then Frost for long. And with Alacrity, I'm very mobile. And then if I can get a Blink, then I'm even more mobile. So it's actually still quite mobile despite not having wind.
Mm-hmm.
But cons, actually, I didn't mention my classes yet. So I use Pyro and Frostborn.
Right.
So the pros of Pyro and Frostborn is obviously with Pyro, you get Phoenix Rebirth. Mm-hmm. So after you die, you get a second chance with 50 HP. That has saved me on many occasions. But Pyro's also very good for Ignite and Born of Fire. Because sometimes when I get close range, I like to just use my Flame Gauntlet in place of a Toxic Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And with Born of Fire, I take no damage from my own shot. So that's super helpful. And then Ignite is also very good because it does an additional, well, depending on your level, but it does additional damage and you don't have to do anything extra. And also it fully counters any type of invis. So if someone has Shadow Step or something like that, like you know exactly where they are if they're ignited. It's very good for tracking enemies, especially with the health bars. And then Frostborn, pros of that, Alacrity, obviously. Only spec into Alacrity on Frostborn. Nothing else is very useful. And then that Overshield, the 50 Overshield is huge. Being able to tank the first shot of a battle is really big because generally what people do is they like to hit their first shot and then go in. Yep. So they have like a damage increase. And what a lot of people do is they hit their first shot. I lose basically no health because of that passive. And then they are rushing me thinking that I'm low, but I actually still have full HP. And then generally I can get get more damage off as they're pushing me. But cons, let's see. I guess cons, so if I don't have Blink or Alacrity, sometimes I'm kind of just stuck on the ground.
Right.
And that can definitely be bad. Pretty much what happens if I'm stuck on the ground is I just need to hit every single shot. You just have to out DPS your enemy because that's pretty much your only option. And then it can also be rough fighting in castles with that build because without wind, it's really hard to get up and down. Oh, you really just have to get on high ground and just stay on it. You can't like move around a bunch. So certain places I'm definitely like, I guess handicapped without a Blink or wind.
Great. Now you're gonna have all these guys like baiting you into castles.
No, I'm not worried about it though.
Yeah.
I am trained.
Just teasing. So we're gonna get into the next segment. It's called tips. So what would you say the best classes for beginners are and why?
Best classes for beginners. Man, I feel like it's too hard to say. Like a lot of beginners run Phoenix Rebirth, but the thing is like generally a new player, if they get Phoenix, they're not going to be able to get any value off after that res.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Man, it's very hard to say. I just think new players need to try a bunch of different things.
Okay.
So every time, like, they just need to spectate better players and see what they use and then copy that play style. And the thing is like, I don't think there's definitely like the best group of classes, but honestly, you can make anything work with a certain play style. And pretty much I think new players should just go to the classes that match their play style the best, and that's going to take a little bit of time to find it. But I don't know. It's cool because you can do so many different things with different classes. And
yeah, I can see where you're coming from too. Like a friend of mine asked me which classes to play, and I just know how his game style is, and he's a Slayer, and I was like, go Frostborn Pyro. But it just makes sense to try out new classes and see what works. So what would you say the toughest gauntlet is to play against, and how do you counter it? And I think you've already touched base on this a little bit earlier.
Stone.
Stone.
I hate stone because I don't use wind, so I'm stuck on the ground, and it's like stone is just always hitting me. Every time I fight a stone gamer, I pretty much am always trading damage unless I have a blink.
Yeah.
Or something. But the thing is with stone is the hitbox is not perfect. I still get hit by it a lot when I'm at max jump height.
Right.
And it's kind of frustrating. I'm not sure if it's a ping issue or if it's an issue with the actual damage hitbox on it. But the best way to counter it, honestly, is just to take high ground. So there's actually two ways. One is to take high ground and just snipe them with Frost. And then the second is just to play hyper aggressive with Toxic. So basically what I do is I get in their face as close as I can and just Toxic slap them, because I can out DPS a stone user with Toxic. You do have to trade damage generally, but it's really hard for a stone user to fight a Toxic user in a point blank fight, because stone is better at like close-ish medium, but not point blank.
Right. So what do you think some of the most OP builds in the game are? Let's start off with one, because this is a little bit of a lot at once. But what's one like very OP build in the game that you play against, and how do you counter it?
OP builds. The thing is I feel like any build played by the right player could be OP.
Right.
And another thing is like certain builds are only OP once you build up a bunch of skill points. So I guess one would be Bulwark with maxed Manivore, which is the 50% of the damage done to you is taken from mana instead. That's very hard to hit because you have to hit 2 times your shots basically, because you only have like a 2-second period when they're recharging mana to do normal damage. And it's like if they're a good player and moving around, you're not able to hit them in that 2-second period usually. So I think the best counter is you just got to play for your own life. Don't worry too much about going in and killing them right away.
Right.
It's going to take a while. You just need to kind of whittle them down over time while avoiding as much damage as possible. Another OP, I guess, class. We're talking about classes, not builds necessarily, because I don't think are any that OP builds. There's very strong ones, but like if it's actually overpowered, it means you win every game with it, or you win like almost every fight, And I don't think there's any builds that give you that much of an edge. But Conduit is also very good if it's leveled up a lot, because it's impossible to dodge charge rune, especially for me since I play so close ranged. And well, really that's just the strongest one. And I guess to counter that, you just have to maintain range and snipe them with Frost. But it can be really hard to do with certain players.
Yeah, how do you counter like a great lightning user? I mean, they got shots going off every 1 second, 2 seconds, and the bursts are hitting. How would you counter that?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but you just kind of have to out DPS them. That's
Wow.
really like, it's really the only way that I've found that is consistent. Because with lightning, they're going to be getting constant DPS off,
Right.
and you need to be avoiding that constant DPS and their sorcery to get stunned. So pretty much what I like to do is I like to just toxic rush lightning users. But what makes it really hard is if that lightning user also has toxic, then it's like, then I'm just guaranteed to trade damage. So it's very difficult. I still need more practice fighting lightning users though, because I will sometimes still get destroyed like instantly by lightning users.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about lightning in
Situations,
a
right?
yeah in a further segment. So what do you think are some best builds in your opinion?
Best builds, so definitely Pyro Frostborn,
Yeah,
just for their passives.
right.
And then you add Alacrity and Ignite on top of it. That one's very good. Very good for giving you second chances and letting you kind of tank more shots than usual. Another very good build is Bulwark and Frostborn. You're basically a speed tank. You have a ton of health and you're very fast.
Right.
Those guys can be very difficult to kill. Bulwark with Scavenger, also really good because Scavenger's most likely going to get you decked on loot.
Yeah, pretty much Bulwark with anything, right?
Yeah, honestly.
Because Bulwark is like the best all-around class, I think. Like you can combine it with just about any other class, and it's really effective.
Totally, 200%. Another pretty strong class. Conduit's pretty strong. I feel like every single upgrade is at least a semi decent upgrade. Some aren't too useful, but it's like it doesn't have any completely useless upgrades. So Conduit's very good. Honestly, I'm not really sure what Conduit's best paired with though. If I had to guess, it'd probably be Bulwark, Conduit Bulwark. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's all the classes that are on my mind though.
Right. I wanted to ask you, because you're one of the better players in the game with the Toxic Gauntlet and Frostborn, or Frost, sorry, the Frost Gauntlet. Do you have any tips on how to play with the Toxic Gauntlet? Because your tracking with that gauntlet is nuts, and it's really nuts with all your gauntlets. But yeah, I was hoping to get a few tips for the Toxic and Frost Gauntlet.
So honestly, with Toxic, first of all, you just have to be comfortable with your mouse and like being able to move around a lot, do lots of spins, and like you have to be able to keep track of your target because
Right.
with Toxic, you need to be point blank to hit them. I rarely use Toxic if I'm not point blank, like very rarely, because I just want to get that consistent high damage off.
Right.
So really, it's just get in their face and hit your shot. I don't know. There's not too much behind it, but when you're really close to people, the hitbox is pretty big in this game. So you're guaranteed, like as long as your crosshair is semi on the enemy, you're most likely going to hit the full Toxic shot.
Right.
And then with Frost is honestly, you just need practice with Frost to understand the travel speed. And yeah, I don't know. It's just get comfortable with the sensitivity, figure out the travel speed, and then also wait for them to be moving in like you kind of have to predict where they're moving since it's a projectile. So always aim a little bit ahead and be predictive with your shots. Because like my old thing, it doesn't work anymore, but with wind, I would let people wind jump up and then I would frost snipe them in the air. And it was pretty much a free shot because with wind, you'd always go the exact same height. So just like find a place where people, I guess, aim somewhere where you know the enemy will be.
Right.
It's hard to say, but I don't know.
Talk about like any new builds that are coming up. I know some people are uncomfortable with sharing them because they don't want to take credit, but
Eh. I mean, honestly, I am pretty much a one trick. I just run the same 2 classes every game.
it's a good one trick though. I mean,
Or what's up?
You've really mastered it, so
but I have been playing with. I've been dropping Pyro recently and trying other classes. So I've tried Scholar just for fun, and then I also tried Scavenger, and Scavenger is really fun because you almost never have to worry about loot. Like, it's almost rare to not get good loot,
right?
Rather than it is rare to get good loot. So it's definitely fun, but it's not like it's not anything secret.
So what are 3 tips you'd like to, or you can give to someone who's playing the game for the very first time?
3 tips. Okay, these aren't in any particular order, but
right.
1, definitely spectate better players and see how they play, and like look at their build, their gauntlet setup, their play style. For 2, I would say think about, like, every time you die, think about what you could have done better. And if you kill someone who you feel like was making a bunch of mistakes, think about their mistakes and be like, okay, that guy should have done this, that guy should have done this. You can learn from your own mistakes and other people's mistakes.
Wow, that is really good.
And for the 3rd, let's see. 3rd, honestly, use stuff that you have fun with. Like, focus on enjoying the game, because if you don't enjoy the game, you're not going to improve. You're really not. But obviously, it's not realistic to be enjoying the game 24/7. So it's like sometimes you do need to be patient. When you first start the game, it's not that enjoyable because you're kind of getting stomped. But eventually you will find things that you enjoy and, I don't know, and have fun with, I guess. So, yeah. Just have fun.
Yeah, and to expand on that 2nd tip you gave, I mean, that is amazing, because a lot of people will just learn from their mistakes. I don't think a lot of people really take the time to see what they can learn from another person's mistakes, and that's very wise, man. So go ahead.
I was just saying, well, thank you. Yeah, usually I do that with people when I have a close fight with someone. I think like, oh, they could have done this and they would have beaten me. And then I also think like, oh, I could have done this and it would have been a less close fight. But yeah, it's just every little possible thing that you can think about that will help you improve helps.
Right. I mean, great tips, dude. Thank you. So we're going to transition a little bit into our competitive segment. Do you plan on competing in this game?
As of right now, I would say no, just because it's very casual. Maybe I'll do some like solo tourneys or something.
Right. I mean, it's in closed alpha, so I mean, we got a lot of time.
Yeah, we have a lot of time for sure. If this game though ends up growing a competitive scene and I'm still into it by then, I will definitely be looking into it.
Right.
Because it's fun to play against better players. I can't do it 24/7. I do like to just chill, but like playing against better players is really fun, and that's where you learn the most.
Right.
So I guess short answer no, long answer yes.
I mean, that's definitely something to follow, because I'm sure a lot of people would love to see exactly where that goes in the competitive scene. Has anyone approached you with an offer to join? I mean, you don't have to disclose any details, but
I've gotten a couple team offers. None of obviously a lot of the teams right now are pretty casual,
right?
So like I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but I have gotten a couple, but I'm just gonna kind of pass on them for now, just because I don't feel like I need a team to have people to play with. I don't know. I could see it being nice. I don't enjoy team play that much right now. Like, I prefer to just play solos and focus on myself and my individual improvement rather than improving with a team, especially when like tournaments are barely a thing. It's like, I don't know if it's even worth putting the time in there. Well, okay, it's worth putting the time in there if you enjoy it. Right. But I just enjoy solos more, and that's why I don't put in the time there.
Yeah. Understood. Have you gotten a chance to play in any scrims?
I've been in a couple of scrim lobbies on accident before, and they're very fun. The thing is, though, is you just get third-partied so hard. You really have to either close fights quick, or after you kill people, you have to just basically book it and hope that no one runs into you.
Yeah,
but they're really fun. Like getting a 3v3 with a good team against a good team, it's tons of fun. It just sucks when that third party comes in and just ends you when your whole team is half HP.
Yeah, that goes into another question I was going to ask. So with the length of some of the fights in this game and the distance of fights like being heard around the area, do you feel like fights can feel like a giant third party in the like for competitive wise?
I can definitely see it, but the thing is like it's a part of the game. Like you have to be thinking about the third party after your fight. You can't just finish the fight and relax instantly. You have to be thinking like, okay, I either need to end this fight now and then run so I don't get third partied, or I need to just run now so I don't get third partied. This fight is taking too long. Like I think people prefer to complain about the third party rather than think about what they could have done to avoid it.
Right.
Because it's just gonna happen, guaranteed. The game's not meant to be a 3-on-3. It's what, 40 groups of 3 or 20 groups of 3? I don't know how many. 10 groups of 3, something like that. And you just need to play around the style of the game.
Right. Do you think BR is a feasible game type for this game? I mean, competitively speaking.
I mean, it's fun. It's definitely fun. But I do think the game would be better off with an arena mode. I think many people can agree with that.
Yeah.
And it might come in the future. I'm hoping it does. But I hope they keep the BR aspect because it is fun. It's a lot more casual. And it's like you just want to go chill, play some Battle Royale.
Yeah. It's definitely something we got to follow over the course of the updates and the patches and as the game, I guess, moves into release. But we're going to get a little bit into to getting to know you a little bit better, our next segment. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself as a gamer? What was your first system and which games did you grind over the years?
As a gamer, all right, first system, probably a Game Boy Advance.
Game Boy Advance was your first?
Yes.
Okay.
Game Boy Advance. I'm not sure how old I was, but Pokemon all the way.
Oh
Pokemon
my
and
gosh.
Tetris.
Fun.
And then that ended up, I played like a few other games, other systems, but then I ended up going to Xbox.
Right.
The OG Xbox and Halo 1. That's that is where my FPS career began, I guess.
Okay.
And then I followed the whole Halo franchise through different Xbox consoles. And then that's finally where I got a computer, super cheap computer. I was playing Team Fortress 2 on like a $200 laptop, like 20 FPS,
right?
You know, $30 or like $10 mouse from Walmart. And then I actually sunk like 1,500 hours into Team Fortress 2.
Wow.
And I was bad with that amount of time.
I just can't see you being bad at any game, man. I'd really like to see these early VODs of you in Spellbreak and what like little Crahb was like.
They're on my Twitch. You can watch them.
Yeah, I think I will.
But then from Team Fortress, I went to Overwatch, and that's where I got a better computer, and that's where I like really improved the most.
Right.
At my like video game skills, I suppose. I ended up hitting top 500 numerous times there and being the highest non-top 500 ranked Grandmaster from season 3 through like 14 or something like that. I believe I quit season 14. And then really what I learned most from Overwatch was just that if you put in a lot of time into something and are focused on improving, you're gonna improve.
Right.
And what it gave me was confidence, just because I was like, wow, okay, I can actually improve at something, because I was just used to being not very good at anything. And then I learned a lot about like how to aim in Overwatch because that game is very difficult to aim, and you're constantly aiming, just since there's always combat going on. So that game is a very good aim trainer.
Right.
But yeah, then Overwatch. Then I played some other games in between. Nothing really mained, and now I'm here.
Right. So can you give us the backstory on the origins of Crahb? How'd you like come up with that username?
Oh no, origins of Crahb. Oh man,
is it appropriate?
Yeah,
Okay.
Totally. So me and my brother, my older brother, we're going to make a RuneScape YouTube channel where we just do like random stuff on YouTube, and we were thinking of usernames, and for some reason we're like, let's do Monkey and Crahb, which is based off of like our childhood stuffed animals.
Right.
There's a monkey and a crab, and so I took Crahb and he took monkey, and I was like, okay, I don't want to be associated completely with a crab, so I added the H in there because it literally sounds exactly the same. He ended up not going with monkey because he couldn't find a name that worked, but I ended up just sticking with Crahb because I kind of liked it. I like the way it looks, just like on paper, although I don't really love being associated with that animal. Crabs are they're just interesting. But
go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Just RuneScape. RuneScape is where Crahb originated.
Okay, well, that's funny, man. That's a good story. Hi, this is Ray GotSoL. If you're enjoying the podcast, feel free to leave a review. Reviews help the show immensely and are greatly appreciated. Also, don't forget to follow the podcast if you'd like to receive more content. Thanks again, and back to the show. So your brother kind of like dipped on you with the idea, but you continued on. So
I did.
Yeah.
I'm pursuing the Crahb life.
Sorry, but can you talk a little bit about your stuffed animal? It was a crab, right?
I actually don't. It was actually my brother's stuffed animal, which is funny.
Oh, okay.
I don't even remember how old I was, but I think our grandparents got us each like a stuffed animal.
Oh.
Staple stuffed animal in our lives.
Right.
We'll always remember those. My stuffed animal was a whale, and my old username used to be Kale's Whale.
Oh, that's dope.
Kale's my short for my first name.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know why I ended up going with Crahb, not Kale. I think I just retired Kale's Whale. You just kind of get bored of names after having them for so long.
Yeah,
at least on the internet.
Understand. Yeah. So what compelled you to be a streamer, and how's the support been with that?
Compelled me to be a streamer. So I have been in community college for first year. I'm just in college now.
Right.
And I'm just realizing that like there's no majors that my college can get me or no jobs that my college can get me that I'm like very interested in doing. Because the thing is the job that you get after college, you're going to be spending many years at and a lot of time at. So if I'm going to be putting so much time into something, I want to be enjoying it. And so it's like, you know what? I should just start streaming, because if I could make that my full-time job, it would be ideal. And it's because I play video games so much already. And it's like, just because I love them. So it's like, if I could do something I love for a living, that would be amazing.
Right.
But yeah, really the goal is to do something I love. And streaming is very low harm, because it's like, I'm going to be playing the video games regardless. So I might as well just hit go live. And it's like, whatever happens, you know? And if it doesn't work out, that's fine. Everything happens for a reason. At least I like to believe.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work out, like, hey, no big deal. At least I tried. And I'd be playing the video games anyways, so very low harm for me.
Yeah. How's the support been with your parents with like pursuing video games as a career?
I think they're supportive. They're okay. I shouldn't say it like that. They are definitely supportive. They just want to make sure that I'm doing things that are healthy for myself.
Right.
So like they want want to make sure that I'm not inside 24/7. They want to make sure that I'm eating enough. So pretty much as long as I am staying healthy in terms of like exercise and going outside and then eating, I think they'll have full support of me. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very good about going outside.
Right.
Need to get on that. But yeah, they're definitely supportive, and they know that I can like function outside of video games. Like video games, it's not an addiction problem. Like I know how to.
Yeah, there's a lot about that going on with it's being categorized as a disease. Any thoughts on that while we're on the topic?
Well, honestly, at first I thought it was kind of a meme. I'm like, really? But then I realized like some people's lives are actually kind of ruined. Like they play video games and they cannot function outside of those video games.
Right.
Like they don't know how to clean themselves. They don't know how to feed themselves. Like they just don't function as a normal human being. And basically, I'm pretty sure what a disease is something that like is messing up your life.
Yeah.
So if video games are messing up those people's lives, then that's like, I understand that classification.
Yeah. So we touched base on this a little bit earlier, but you finished school a year early. Can you talk a little bit about the backstory on taking an extra year off work just to graduate faster?
So I ended up just throughout high school, I kind of realized like, this is not for me. I don't really care about the social scene. I don't play any high school sports. I'm not involved in any clubs. I just kind of go to school and like hang out with a few of my friends. So just like, you know what? I wonder if I could just get this done quicker. So I ended up talking to my counselor, and they gave me this schedule, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. Why not? So junior year, I ended up taking 9 classes, I think, and completed all my credits a little bit earlier and graduated, which wasn't too difficult, but it gave me a nice boost in time because now I have a year of college under my belt, and I'm basically same age as people who are just graduating high school now.
Right. Kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room to pursue streaming too, don't you think?
Yeah, no doubt. Especially if it doesn't work out, because it's like I'm not gonna be behind my peers.
That's right.
Even if I take a year off, because next year I may not be going back to school. Just so I can pursue streaming, and then I also will probably be picking up a part-time job somewhere because I do need to have a more consistent income. I do it, and right now it's like streaming in Spellbreak. There's just not that many viewers, so I don't really plan on making much money. I just kind of want to enjoy it and just see how I like it as I go. Honestly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You're studying Japanese right now, so how did that desire develop, and where would you like to see that go?
Japanese. Well, honestly, I've always wanted to be able to speak another language fluently, or at least enough to get around. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, and I just did not like it very much. But then I think it was sophomore year of high school, I had a friend who was really into anime. And then they ended up kind of sucking me in. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And the language is sick. So I was like, okay, I should just take Japanese. So junior year of high school, I ended up taking Japanese, and I really liked it. It was a ton of fun. The language is sick. And Japan, or like the Japanese people, have a very cool culture. I like that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just very interesting. It's so different from what we have. So I think it'd be really cool to eventually learn Japanese in full, or at least close to full, so I could go and visit at some point and get around on my own. Because I don't want to go visit and have like a guide or be forcing them to speak English. So, and honestly, it's just fun. It's fun to learn another language, and it feels really good when you understand like sentences and things that people are saying in another language. Like it's just crazy. It's a crazy feeling. And at least for me, since I only speak one language, if you speak multiple languages, it's just normal for you. But I don't know.
Right.
I guess it's media that sucked me in.
Yeah. So what is your biggest dream, would you say?
Biggest dream? It's just doing something that I love for a living. Because I know that I'm going to have to work no matter what. So it's like I want to be working somewhere that I like enjoy the environment, enjoy the people that I'm around, enjoy what I'm doing. So pretty much, and that doesn't have to be streaming. It could honestly be anything. Just anything that I'm passionate about is what I want to be doing for a living.
Right.
That's my dream. It's just to be happy, really. Because I think if I have a job that I love, I will be happy.
Yeah.
And I would like to have like a family eventually, but that's out there.
So if money wasn't an option, what would you be doing every day?
Definitely playing video games, regardless.
Yeah.
I am doing it because it's very fun, and I love that, just the sense of improvement.
Right.
Video games is a great place to kind of feel that. So
yeah, you've just been doing it so long, and video games are so much fun. So as long as there's a little bit of balance there, you know, with the state of the gaming world now, as long as there's a little bit of balance, I mean, I think it's fine.
Yeah, you can't be too invested.
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as you're functioning outside of them, I think it's good.
All right, well, let's get back into Spellbreak. Let's talk a little bit about the current state of the game. So what do you think about the current state of the game as it stands?
I personally really like it. I keep my expectations pretty low with Spellbreak because I know that it's an alpha. I know things are going to be getting changed. I know things are going to be getting added in. So I try to keep my expectations low so I'm not disappointed. I like what they did to Wind. It's a lot harder to kill a Wind user now.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, being that you're not getting as much air, but you know the fast like pumps of the wind shear kind of like makes it a little bit more erratic.
Yeah, it's hard to kill them, and then when they can block all my fireballs, it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot hit you at all. But I like it because I've played a couple games with Wind, and it's really fun. It feels great to use. And then, but let's see, other states of the game. So the new Rune Editions, super cool. It's nice to feel like you can still survive if you don't have Blink. Blink is still number one in my opinion, but it's not necessary. Like, you don't need it 100%.
Right.
So I think the game has made a good turn. I like it.
Do you find anything broken about the game right now?
Broken? Just certain classes, when they're maxed out, are a little bit too strong.
Okay.
So like Alacrity 3 is pretty dumb. Manivore 3 is pretty dumb. Charged Rune 3, not a big fan of that. They're just very strong, but the thing is like those are all easy changes. They're just numbers, so all you got to do is tune those. And if they don't tune them, it's like whatever. It's their choice. It's up to the devs to balance the game. But really, I don't think anything is too broken. Armored Belt is very strong for being a green item. I feel like it should not be 100, or it should either be upped in a tier.
Okay.
Let's see, though. I don't know. I don't have too many complaints. Like, if something was really broken, I would die to it all the time, you know? And I feel like there's no single thing that I die to all the time.
Yeah, considering the classes and the amount of inventory items, like, the balance is pretty well off if we're being very positive, you know? Like, there's a lot of ways things could go wrong here, but the devs have done a really good job with that, I think.
Totally. Like, people like to say that the balance isn't great, but I think the balance is actually pretty amazing, considering the state of the game, like how early it is.
Right.
And then the fact that there's 12 classes and, like 7 or 8 gauntlets. Like, you can make so many things work. I think the balancing is pretty amazing, in my opinion.
There's so much to juggle, you know?
Yeah, because there's no single meta, you know? Not everyone's running the exact same thing. And it's really cool. It keeps the game fresh.
Right.
Just new builds all the time. New gauntlets all the time. So I think they're doing a really good job, personally.
Is there anything you'd like to see worked on for the next patch?
Probably optimization, but I know that's they're going to tone on that 100%. I think I heard that optimization was the focus of 0.25,
right,
which is coming out this week. But yeah, I feel like there's nothing that's like
Yeah, and we're all waiting for
too big.
optimization. That's going to be a really big one. And I know there's quite a few players that have kind of taken a break and taken a step back while they fix it. So,
definitely. And I also think like a lot of the things that I feel like they should tone probably will get toned in the future. So it's not really worth covering it, because I know a lot of things are just being tested right now.
right.
They're just seeing how they work out, how people feel about it. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so this is it's either you have it or you don't. But do you have any ideas for a new class or gauntlet that you'd like to share? Or?
It's hard for me to say. I think a vague idea would be some sort of class that gives you mobility similar to alacrity. Because I think rather than removing alacrity, like many people want, I think it'd be cool if we just had more alternatives to it.
Right.
Alacrity is really fun, and I think it's cool to have some sort of escape, like not every fight should be once and done. Like alacrity lets you extend fights longer, and I think it'd be cool if there's more things that didn't necessarily go with a Frost Gauntlet.
Right.
So you could get that speed with a different build, and I think that would be very cool. But I don't have any ideas for what that could be or what it would make sense with. But yeah, just more mobility in classes.
More mobility. Nice.
I know there's already so much.
I wonder how the devs might feel about that, but I agree, man. I mean, mobility is such a big part of the game. It's one of the first things that everybody should really focus on when they're learning, I think, is just being very mobile and able to get around, How do you feel about the Phoenix Rebirth?
Phoenix Rebirth, it can be annoying, definitely, but I don't think it's too broken, honestly. Maybe I'm just biased because I use it. But generally, if you Phoenix someone, you're going to kill them. I can see it being a little bit stronger in squads, because once you Phoenix someone, they run away, and then you have to focus their teammates.
Right.
But I don't mind it. It adds a new aspect. Like, it gives you a second chance, and it's nice to have a second chance.
Yeah, it is, actually.
Like, especially that in this game, once you're finished, there's no way to come back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I feel like lots of people's opinions differ. I don't think it's that OP though.
Yeah. Shout out to all you new players. You want a second chance in game? Try Phoenix.
Yeah,
or try the Pyro.
Honestly.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the balancing changes to Lightning and Wind? Because they spent the last 3 patches working on the Lightning nerf. So do you think they got it right? And is there anything you'd like to say about Wind?
I think Wind is awesome. The thing with Lightning is it's not the Lightning Gauntlet that's broken, in my opinion. I think what makes Lightning too strong is the Conduit class.
Right, 100%.
But all their changes are just direct changes to the Lightning Gauntlet. I wish they reverted Lightning to like 2 patches ago when it was just the OG thing. It just felt much better to use. And they should have nerfed Conduit in some way, because I don't think Lightning alone is
actually a good
that
point.
OP. Yeah, it's just that every pick it can be so good, and if you max out Charged Rune or honestly any of the things, it's like if used right, it's just so strong. It's so hard to fight against.
Yeah,
and you can do so much damage without even hitting your shots, which is just crazy to me.
Yeah. So can you expand a little bit about how big streamers impact the landscape of Spellbreak? I mean, I think a couple of times you've been on when some of the bigger streamers were on, and do you have any thoughts about that?
Oh yeah, it was one time that Shroud was streaming. He streamed for like 10 minutes. And right. I think I jumped up to like 112 viewers, while another Spellbreak streamer jumped up to like 200 viewers.
Right.
And it was kind of crazy. I was like, just one person can make such a huge difference on that whole game and the category. And I think it's going to be like a lot cooler when more big streamers come on. It's good free advertising, and it brings more players to the game. I don't know. it's cool. It'll be really cool once more people are on there and involved.
Yeah.
But I will say I do like the small community it is right now. It's nice to kind of know everyone. And it makes people, I don't know, it kind of makes people filter what they say. People are a little bit less toxic because people know who they are. And when people know who you are, you don't want to be doing stupid stuff, because when people are behind a screen, it's like they do things they would not do in real life.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
I got some things to say about that, but I'm gonna take the high road. So
good on you.
Yeah. How do you feel about the potential of this game moving forward?
I think the game is going to do good just because it's unique. You don't get very many original games now. I feel like a lot of games are just very heavily influenced from other things. And this game I guess this game's influenced from other things, but it takes aspects from so many other games. And it's just a whole new experience, really. So I think it's going to do well as long as the devs keep it up. Honestly, I think the game will do well. And if they add an arena mode, I think the game will do even better.
Yeah, and this is a good time to, expand on that. So, is there anything you'd like to say to the devs? And we like to shout out the devs every podcast. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Big thank you. They're pushing out patches all the time.
Right.
I think they're doing a very good job.
Right.
So yeah, honestly, just thank you. The streams, the giveaways, like the competitions.
Yeah,
I think it's all cool. It's cool.
If you could add one game mode to the game, and we actually talked about this, but if you could add one game mode to the game, what would it be?
Oh, definitely like kind of like a WoW arena, like a 2-on-2 WoW arena, 3-on-3, maybe 1-on-1. Or the addition of a 1-on-1, because I don't think that was a thing in WoW arenas, but I think it could be a ton of fun. And that's where you choose your classes off the very beginning. So like you can choose basically.
And that seems to be a very popular idea that's floating around too, the arena mode concept.
Definitely. Well, it's because the combat is so much fun. Like 1v1ing people or 2v2ing or 3v3ing, it's so much fun. But when you get thrown into the battle royale, sometimes you have a loot disadvantage, or you have to worry about the third party. So it's like the problems with the battle royale is those are things that can be easily fixed. Easily fixed in arena mode, and I think people would have a lot of fun. But I will say is people won't be able to play the arena mode that much. Like I don't see anyone playing arena for 8 hours at a time. Just because you're going to be locked in this tiny little place with the same loot, like.
Right. But it would definitely make a great alternative for the competitive aspect. I mean, even if you want to keep BR as a main option, I mean, I'm sure it'd be interesting to maybe have like side games where you do arena, like show matches and stuff. I think a lot of people would like to see stuff like that. And I'm sure it'd be fun for better players.
Yeah, I think it'd be very fun, and it also is just like a good viewing experience watching good players play other good players. Just because it's so much closer, and it's like how did they perform then?
Right. So how's life been in the Spellbreak community?
Dude, so good, so good. I feel like a lot of the people have been very good to me.
Well, you're good to them. Just you're so good to everybody, Crahb.
But yeah, it's just been good. It's really nice to be in a smaller community because you're just so used to being like with most games. You're so used to being in such a huge community, so it's really hard to meet new people.
Right.
Oh, Spellbreak, you get to meet everyone, and I think there's something cool about every person.
Yeah, we should definitely cherish this while we have it, shouldn't we?
Yes, no doubt. And it's nice though, because once the game does release, it's like we'll still all know each other.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to make like an OG Spellbreak server before the game goes live, where you can just chat with the OGs.
Yeah.
Keep the same community. But yeah, it's awesome having a smaller community. And as long as you're not putting anything negative out there, then people will also like, I guess really if you're putting positivity out there, people will feed off of it.
Yeah.
And you'll meet other good people. So yeah.
We interrupt your original podcast broadcast to bring you a Patch 25 exclusive update. Patch 25 was just released Friday, May 31st. We have Crahb back with us again to discuss the changes with the update. So Crahb, how do you feel about the Patch 25 overall?
Patch 25 overall, I think it was a good change. Considering that we're all testers, I'm really glad that they're trying so many new things this patch.
Right.
And honestly, it's been really fun testing everything new, and it's almost like relearning the game. My first couple of games, I was just getting stomped, but as I went through, I was kind of figuring it out, and yeah, it was just really fun to mess around with.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a whole new game. Like I took a minute to really digest what was happening because it just feels super fresh and new. So what sticks out the most about this update to you?
The most is probably the movement speed. It's the movement speed before you get boots. Once you get boots, it feels pretty much the same as normal. The FOV definitely makes a difference to that. Actually, it's hard to say. I'm almost caught between the movement speed and the FOV, because the FOV also makes movement speed feel different. It makes aim feel different. It makes Alacrity movement speed feel different. Alacrity movement speed is a little bit slower.
Right.
But it feels a lot slower. So that took me a bit to get used to. So, yeah, the movement was just so weird to get used to. Like, if you don't have boots, you literally look like you're jogging around the map, like a slow mom jog.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. About the FOV, do you think it was a solid improvement, though, or what are your thoughts on the FOV? I know it's kind of early.
I think I like the FOV. It's been a bit hard to aim and adjust to for me.
Right. But
I'm really glad that it's just a stable FOV. So in the older patches, you're at, I believe, 85 FOV. And then when you started sprinting, it would go up to 90. So pretty much what's happening is as you're moving, the FOV is constantly changing, meaning that your sensitivity is going to feel not consistent. And it's a super, super tiny inconsistency, but still having 103 consistent is going to make it a little bit easier to aim overall. It's just it adds consistency to the gameplay. So I personally like it.
Yeah, those are some great points, man.
Yeah, and I know that some people prefer to have lower FOV because I think it makes it easier to aim when you're up close with someone. But higher FOV makes it easier to track your enemy. But in all reality, I think just everyone needs to get used to it, and it's going to take a little bit to get used to it.
Yeah, it definitely felt a little bit different, like just a little awkward at first for me, but I got used to it after a few games. So movement, we already touched base on that. Do you think the nerf of the movement speed was needed? Like, I know they're giving... So let's say this, like all the boots give you a speed increase. Do you think they needed to decrease the default speed to add the increase?
Right. It's hard to say. It feels awful to not have rare or better boots. But when you're fighting someone close range, I still feel like the enemies are pretty fast. So it's almost like if they had that extra increase, would it be too hard to hit people? Like in combat, it makes sense that they lowered it. Out of combat, it just doesn't feel very good. But I think people are focusing too much on out of combat rather than in combat. So I don't actually mind it too much. Personally, I would like it to be reverted back to normal movement speed.
Yeah.
But I understand why they lowered it, because people are still pretty damn fast when you're up close with them and fighting.
Yeah. How do you feel about the squad leader drops? Do you think that was a good add? I mean, I know it's more for people that play random fills, but
I really like the drops now, because now there's no such thing as dropping late anymore.
Yeah.
And it makes it really easy to drop with your whole squad in the same place. Sometimes people would get confused. I mean, I've gotten confused. I've dropped apart from my teammates before on accident. So That's just such a nice quality of life thing, and I
also,
appreciate that they did that.
yeah, sometimes the portal, like, it doesn't work sometimes. Does that ever happen to you? Like, you click it and it doesn't actually work? I don't know. I've had that happen to me a couple
Weird.
times. Yeah.
I have not had that. One thing that I have had happen to me though is I spawn in the same portal with my teammate and I like hitch on my teammate and then get stuck in the air for like, I don't know, like 2 seconds, and then
Wow.
all my teammates fall down way below me and I'm way above everyone. So that's a little bit annoying, but that's definitely something fixable. So
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about that. And also to add on to dropping, the new dropping system feels really nice. Being in full control until you touch the ground
100%.
makes it so much easier to change directions and not overshoot. Not overshooting is very, very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely noticed the change on the drop too. Before, I thought I was the worst person to drop in the game. I consistently overshot drops because I like to look around and like scan the landscape, and it kind of puts me in a tough position trying to hit my landing spot. And the drops I love the drop.
Dude, yeah, exactly though. Old drops could be so scuffed. You could have like the most experienced player land in the middle of nowhere because they just overshoot on accident. Yeah. So yeah, it's really nice that they changed that, and I think it'll benefit every player. So
right,
good on them.
Okay, so this is a big one here. What did you think of the item overhaul? I mean, the items inventory just got completely reworked. We got new names for everything. We lost things, added things like.
Yeah, man. I don't know how much I like it. I guess I don't dislike it. I just don't love it. So it makes sense what they did. The higher tier an item is, the better chance of you taking it, right? Like,
right.
You should never be taking a green item over a legendary item. That's stupid. So they got rid of that idea, I guess, of taking lower tier items. But something I don't like is how if someone has a bunch of higher tier items, they get a much bigger edge in a fight. Like, I don't like how loot determines the outcome of a fight too much. I feel like old patch, you could have not great loot, but still be on pretty much equal ground as the enemy.
That's a good point.
Apologies.
No worries. And, I mean, I definitely feel that they added a lot of value to rarity, and I definitely feel like they standardized items in a sense that, you know, you get a base attribute with your item, and then you can kind of like be tactical about which items you choose. But I definitely get where you're coming from, where, you know, if someone gets legendary items, they will definitely have an advantage in a fight.
Definitely. But I do also agree with you. Like, I do like the base attributes, like the armor edition, the mana edition, the speed edition. Like, it's cool. And it's more of a rewarding feeling to get good loot, because it's like, oh, I have great loot. I'm so strong now. Like, because people want to feel strong. It just makes the game feel more fun. So although I don't love it, I feel like it is a good turn.
Yeah, and it's probably a lot easier for people that are picking up the game for the first time to kind of understand, don't you think?
Definitely makes it easier to understand. And with less items, they don't need to learn nearly as much.
Yeah.
So
do you think optimization is finally where it needs to be?
Personally, I actually didn't notice much of a difference. Around Halsey, I don't feel stutters anymore, which is really nice. The game feels a lot more consistently smooth, which is super good. But like, as in frame rates, I've had about the same frames. But I have heard from other people that they've been getting much better frame rates. And like the devs said, this is just the first step towards optimization. There's still more they can do, but I'm glad they did it, because the consistency in frames is very helpful in fight.
Right. Okay. This one's something that kind of bugs me, so I want to talk about it a little bit. What do you think about these health bars that are seemingly everywhere?
Oh,
like, no, there's one at the top, there's one at the left. Like what are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't understand the health bars fully. I wish we just had one big health bar. I don't even care if it's top, middle, or bottom. I just want one big health bar that's always showing. Because right now, the main health bar is top, middle, but it hides after like 3 seconds of no combat. And it's like, what? I want to see my health. And then you
there's
have
one
to look at the top left. Yeah. So you have to like look at that one. It's like, what are you doing there? I like the classes being top left, but the health bar doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah.
But it is just kind of like a small inconvenience. Like I will get used to that.
Yeah. It's
I'll
definitely
be able to
nitpicking.
Yeah, totally. I'll just be checking my health top left when I'm out of combat and then checking my health top middle while in combat.
Right.
But I will say, I think they made the health bar a little bit bigger. The top middle one that hides. I'm pretty sure it's a little bit bigger. When it's showing, it's really easy to read the numbers for shields and health. So I think that's nice.
Right.
And I'm also fairly sure that that's not something that's going to be permanent. I think they're just testing out health bar locations to figure out what's best.
Right. I mean, I was fine with it at the bottom, but apparently people were getting confused of which was the shield and which one was the mana. So one thing that I thought that they could probably do is just change the color of the mana to like green or something, or another standard color.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And maybe they will do that eventually. That would be my preference, just to have everything down there. It's less eye movement.
Right. Is there anything that we missed about Patch 25 that you'd like to address?
Anything we missed? Just something that feels a little bit different. I feel a lot more squishy running around. Like I feel like I lose my health so fast now.
Yeah.
So I've noticed I've been playing a lot safer, because whenever I don't play safe, I just get completely punished, and it's really weird. I don't know. I just have you noticed that, Ray? Like do you feel squishier? Like,
well, I mean, without you definitely need a belt. You know, if you don't have a belt, like health can feel like really short on supply. Because
that's true. But I think even with the legendary belts, the 90 shields, I still feel squishy. I don't know why. I think a part of it is that they have that new damage amulet. I forget the name. But you can do like 50 damage fireballs, which is crazy. So it's just 2 fireballs.
Which amulet is
down
that?
Legendary shields. It's an epic amulet.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're still, like, this is, we've only had 1 day on this patch, so definitely still learning some of the names and getting aware, and some of them are just, like, very similar to old items with just new names and with the added attributes, the base attributes, so...
Definitely.
So that's all we have for patch 25. We're going to be getting back to the original podcast broadcast. Thank you. Okay, so, we're going to be switching gears into the next segment. It's called the Soul Seed. It's the part of the show where we ask 21 rapid-fire questions while the guest answers them as fast as they can. There's only one rule, though. Questions must be answered. So let's have some soulful fun. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Coffee. Okay, coffee or energy drink?
Ooh, coffee.
Okay, favorite snack when streaming?
Gummy bears.
Gummy bears. Favorite gauntlet?
Toxic.
Okay. Favorite reactive attack in spell?
Favorite reactive attack?
Like combination of attacks. Sorry, like I'm sure like maybe DF for you.
I guess I'd go DF. That's what I use all the time.
Favorite anime?
Oh, it's too hard to put them in there.
Gotta do it. You have to.
No.
You have
How
to.
am I supposed to
Just
do that?
one.
Just go with Your Lie in April. I don't know. Too hard though.
Okay, you can only choose one or the other. Pyro or Frostborn?
Frostborn.
If you could be any superhero, which would it be?
Iron Man.
Favorite current movie?
Oh gosh.
gotta do it. You just have to.
I haven't watched like a normal movie in so long.
Anime movie. We can go
I
back
know,
to.
we'll say Happy Feet, the OG.
Happy Feet. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cute. Blink or Dash.
Blink.
Okay. Nintendo or Sega?
Nintendo.
Favorite game of all time?
Overwatch.
Runic Fluency or Behemoth Belt?
Behemoth.
Most memorable gaming moment?
Oh gosh. Man, I'm slowing down your rapid roll. I feel like I've had a lot of good moments.
Not just good ones, the most memorable one.
Probably when I hit my peak rank in Overwatch.
Okay.
Just go
You're
with that.
Batman. Who's Robin?
Bear in mind.
Okay. Player who gives you the most trouble in game.
Man, I don't like to say number one. I feel like there's quite a few players.
All right, give a few then. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Recently, it's been... Alright, Speary, Ramen, the Aviate guys, so Austin and Brizzy.
Right.
Death can be a nut sometimes. Leon, I don't know.
Right.
I'm just listening.
I know we can go on and on here. Let me save you from this, my bad.
Go.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Man, these are some hard questions. What the heck?
It's the soul seed, brother.
Alright, I guess fly. I don't know.
Fly, okay.
Yeah.
If one gauntlet could be made IRL, which one would you want?
What's actually useful? Let's go with flame.
All right.
I could light fires. Very nice.
I have made fire.
Yes.
Sorry for that really bad reference to Castaway. I'm sure a lot of you probably haven't even seen it. I might just cut that part out. My bad. Favorite color?
Blue.
Okay. Most underrated item and spell?
What is it called? Student's Amulet, I believe. The 5% damage increase.
Oh, okay.
I like that thing.
Right. Current favorite song?
Current favorite song. Oh, I have to look really quick. I actually don't even remember the name.
It's okay. It's just going to be the longest rapid fire question segment we've ever had, but it's going to be good. We're wilding out here.
Heck. Oh, just kidding. Alright. It's called Another Sky, I think.
Another Sky. Okay.
Another Sky, DJ Okwari. Sick song.
All right. I may let you off the hook easy here, but we'll see. Okay. And are you familiar with the Avengers?
Yeah, yes, but I haven't seen Endgame.
Okay. You should be set for this one. Okay. If you could wield one Infinity Stone, which one would you want?
The one that alters reality.
Okay. The Reality Stone then, right?
Yeah, whatever it's called. I don't know. Anything.
All right. Well, man, that's it for the soul seat. How'd you feel you did?
Quite poorly, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, that's it for now, guys. That's it for today's show. If you'd like to catch more of our guest Crahb, you can watch him live on Twitch at twitch.tv Crahb. That's CRAHB, or you can follow him on Twitter at Crahb, CRAHBB. The links will also be in the description. Once again, Crahb, thanks so much for sharing your soul with us. And until next time, salute. Any last words, Crahb?
Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. It was a good experience for me. Yeah, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.
See you in the HoloLens, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.